It's a third line day. We're in gate 19, the gate of wanting, the gate of approach. And the third line is called dedication. We come to the theme of trial and error and bonds made and broken within the context of support and the need for resources. And we find this line called dedication. It is about being dedicated to needing those resources. No matter where you go with a 19, you are not going to escape this need, this deep need for resources, whatever those resources happen to be. The lifetime learning says receptivity to approach that can only be maintained through vigilance. It's one of the things to understand about the nature of being dedicated. That it is not simply a matter of needing to have the resources, but in order to get them, you have to stay with it. You have to be vigilant. You have to guard and protect it. You figure out how to condition animals. This is part of this stream that we're in. How to get sheep to live in your backyard. It's not enough that you have them there and that you can eat them, but you also have to take care of them. You have to guard them. You have to make sure they're kept healthy. And so you have to remain vigilant to their needs. This is an interesting concept for our third lines who make and break bonds and who like to bump into new things and keep life fresh and interesting, because vigilance has a kind of continuity to it. This is not a one-shot abstract experience where you grab the money and run. It does mean you are stuck, you are hooked up. It means that you are locked into a tribal obligation. And so vigilance is necessary. Otherwise, the resources can never be maintained or held onto. The vigilance is a direct result of this being a third line with its process of trial and error and banging into things. This is not simply flirting, but flirting and thinking that you've got the principles you need only to meet rejection, or to be accepted only to discover that you're being accepted by principles that you just can't live with and you can't pressurize. Principles and acceptance or rejection, they all live at the other end of this channel in gate 49. The exaltation says the natural ease with which communion is maintained, sensitivity and ease fueled by acceptance by others. Think about this, the natural ease with which communion is maintained, but not the resources. These people are so dedicated to needing the resources that they have no problem with other people in the tribe. It is surprisingly easy for them to make relationships, but they do not really work out. They are a third line and they make mistakes because it is not about the relationship. It is about whether or not the relationship can manifest, can bring about the resources. It doesn't matter who your associates are. But if you want to feed yourself and you want to live, you will have to have associates who are going to bring you that. And this requires vigilance, not simply just the skills of being ready and able to support others or being supported. The others have to accept it. So through this trial and error, if they meet those forces that accept them, they develop this natural ease. But bear in mind that we have an introduction line here, a lifetime learning. And every time we see an introduction, we know that we're looking at a genetic process that opens up through the lifetime. It really doesn't flower until the second half of the life. It's an ongoing process of development. In the detriment, a tendency towards moodiness that may lead to carelessness. The need to want to be hampered by oversensitivity. I don't think I said that quite right, did I? The need to be wanted, hampered by oversensitivity. Okay. Do you ever see those things on Facebook about colons and where to put a colon and it makes such a difference in a sentence, and it's that there's that thing anyway. So yeah, seeing it there. Okay, so the need to be No, the need to be wanted, hampered by oversensitivity. Let's just visualize where I should put that comma. Okay, hope you got that. So it's all very easy if somebody accepts me. I can be there with them, but the resources, which is where the vigilance is, that's a different thing. No, it's not about how many friends you have. It is about how productive your relationships are in that sense. It's not about how many people are in the tribe. Because if 99% of them are on the dole, then the tribe is going to starve. So it's not about having numbers in terms of people. This is more that trial and error. This stream is the stream of touch. And yet we're in the lower trigram here, so we have to remember that they don't know what touch is. They don't know there's anything waiting out there at the other end of the channel. They're just sitting there deeply sensitive to touch, and yet really not knowing what it's like to be touched. The stream eventually finds its way to gate 37, which wants to be touched by God. And this is the ultimate. But we're not quite there yet. The upper trigram with their transpersonal qualities, they can recognize the whole touch thing. They're aware of the enormous amount of information that is carried through the medium of touch. They know how flirtatious touch can be. They know the difference between a wink and someone who's playing footsie with you under the table. They're two very different things. Oversensitivity is an overriding theme in this stream. It always has to do with resources. These people only become oversensitive when there are not enough resources for them. It doesn't matter how many people are around. And one becomes very sensitive or oversensitive as a potential when the resources are not adequate for the need that's being offered. They're saying, here I am offering you my support. Where are my resources? I give you my support. You have to give me access to resources. Well, and then they get oversensitive and they start saying, yeah, well, what about me? You've left me out. Where am I in this bargain? Where's my cut? And this is the third line. So it has to learn that it's not about numbers. The tribe is always stuck in numbers, this mundane aspect of being able to make more money for your work. But it is not about how many people are there. It is about the value that is inherent in your relationship. In terms of looking at, is everybody in the tribe productive? Because that is the value here. Is the tribe truly interdependent, or do we have a tribe that is based on dependency? Two people work and one person's freeloading? What kind of a tribe is that? Now the third line is saying, hey, come on, you've got to see, not everybody's pulling their weight. What's going on here? And that's why there's so much flirting in gate 19. It's trying to see who really does pull their weight, who really can carry through the vigilance and bring it to fulfillment. The grounding to the sun in gate 19 in the third line is the gate 33 in the third line. We have lots of threes today. And it's called spirit. Dedication takes spirit, the correct spirit. And perhaps that is the support that the 33 brings, together with the themes of all the third lines in all of the gates, because we've got the genetic continuity, of course. Mercury moved into gate 41 this morning at 8:20. Are we all talking about new beginnings? The sun has just moved out of this gate, and we celebrated, or we acknowledged at least, the Rave New Year, the new solar cycle. But perhaps there is an emphasis on cutting back right now, waiting a little bit longer before reaching out for those new experiences. The moon is still in gate 19 since 8:45 this morning. We have some extra focus on what we are experiencing through the sun's transit. And we need a little spoiler alert here, perhaps, because the moon is moving next into gate 13 at 18:25, which is where the sun goes next in its transit. So we have a channel at the moment defined here between the G center, or we will have when the moon moves in, with the G center gate 13 and the Earth in the throat center 33. This is the channel of the prodigal. This is one of the channels that the experiential circuit has with which to express itself. The prodigal is the child who leaves their family to go off adventuring, eventually returning to the bosom of their family, returning to share all of their wonderful experiences, everything that they've been through, all the secrets they've heard, all that they have reflected on. The impetuousness of youth becomes the wisdom of maturity, as what has been completes the cycle. It informs the collective to become part of the future. Our last moon gate for today is gate 49 at 0401, and we know this is a solar plexus gate and it forms a channel with our sun in gate 19. So interesting how much at the moment we have this focus on the 19, just within the 19, how much focus there is on the 49. And here it is showing up through the moon to give us this channel and the experience of this, this channel of synthesis, this design of sensitivity. So maybe there's a little bit more focus around, oh, I don't know, the fine balance that can be found between what we need and what those around us need. Around holding on to our own principles while serving the tribe, balancing practicality and fairness. This is the channel of the bride and the groom, and although it is tribal and community focused, perhaps there is some contemplation to be had here on the sacred marriage that we can have with ourselves. So that is line 3 of gate 19. Thank you very much for joining me. I will be back with the 4th line tomorrow. And until then, as always, you know what I'm going to say, don't you? Love yourself and go gently. I will see you tomorrow.